This is WhisperSister, and this is a whisper rune reading for LiliumCandidum. So, Lilium, your question was one of, well, actually I can't remember if you said you wanted me to keep it confidential or not, so maybe I won't mention it. But, I guess it was just sort of some questions around schooling that you're going to be doing and things like that, so I'll just leave it vague, and I will hope that the runes give you something useful. Okay. So this first one will be your overview. Oh my god, that's awesome. That's really cool. As I was just doing that, a couple runes fell out of the bag, and that was one of them. I put them back in because I didn't. Okay, anyway, that's really cool. Okay, so that's your overview. This is your challenge. Interesting. And your action called for. Okay. Okay, so your first rune is Thursaz, but it's reversed, so I'm going to read both the upright and the reversed meanings. Sorry if the rain's getting loud. I'm never going to find time to do all these requests if I wait for the rain to stop. So. Okay. So here's the reversed reading. A quickening of your development is indicated here, yet even in times of accelerated growth, you will have reason to halt along the way, to reconsider the old and integrate the new. Take advantage of these halts. If you are undergoing difficulties, remember, the nature of your passage depends upon the quality of your attitude, the clarity of your intention, and the steadfastness of your will. Be certain that you are not suffering over your suffering. Drawing Thursaz reversed demands contemplation on your part. Hasty decisions at this time may cause regrets, for the possibility is that you will act from weakness, deceive yourself about your motives, and create new problems more severe than those you are attempting to resolve. Impulses must be tempered by thought for correct procedure. Do not attempt to go beyond where you haven't yet begun. Be still, collect yourself, and wait on the will of heaven. Okay, so that's the overview of your situation. And that's, again, a reversed rune, so that's sort of like the energy of this rune is being challenged by, well, it's just something to keep in mind. And this is the upright reading. The rain's getting really heavy. I'm sorry if this is annoying, but hopefully it's okay. Alright, so this is a gateway. With a gateway for its symbol, this rune indicates that there is work to be done both inside and outside of yourself. Thursaz represents the frontier between heaven and the mundane. Arriving here is a recognition of your readiness to contact the numinous, the divine, to illuminate your experience so that its meaning shines through its form. Thurizaz is a rune of non-action, thus the gateway is not to be approached and passed through without contemplation. Here you are being confronted with a clear reflection of what is hidden in yourself, what must be exposed and examined before right action can be undertaken. This rune strengthens your ability to wait. Now is not a time to make decisions. Deep transformational forces are at work in this next to last of the cycle runes. Visualize yourself standing before a gateway on a hilltop. Your entire life lies out behind you and below. Before you step through the gateway, pause and review the past, the learnings and the joys, the victories and the sorrows, everything it took to bring you here. Observe it all, bless it all, release it all, for it is in letting go of the past that you reclaim your power. Step through the gateway now. Okay, now that is your overview. So, I think you get what I mean when I say that it's like the reversal showing up means it's kind of showing you what your potential pitfalls are, or what's standing in your way of that. I hope that makes sense. Okay. And then your second rune, which is your challenge, is the blank rune. Let me just make sure that's true. Yep. Okay. Make sure it wasn't just the back of another rune. The unknowable and the divine. So this is your challenge. Blank is the end, blank the beginning. This is the rune of total trust and should be taken as exciting evidence of your most immediate contact with your own true destiny, which time and again rises like the phoenix from the ashes of what we call fate. The appearance of this rune can portend a death, but that death is usually symbolic and may relate to any part of your life as you are living it now. Relinquishing control is the ultimate challenge for the spiritual warrior. Here, the unknowable informs you that it is in motion in your life. In that blankness is held undiluted potential. At the same time, both pregnant and empty, this rune comprehends the totality of being, all that is to be actualized. Drawing the blank rune may bring to the surface our deepest fears. Will I fail? Will I be abandoned? Will it all be taken away? And yet our highest good, our truest possibilities, and all our fertile dreams are held within that blankness. Willingness and permitting are what this rune requires, for how can you exercise control over what is not yet in form? A blank rune calls for no less an act of courage than an empty-handed leap into the void. Drawing it is a direct test of faith. The unknowable represents the path of karma, the sum total of your actions and their consequences, the lessons that are yours for this lifetime. And yet this rune teaches that the very debts of old karma shift and evolve as you shift and evolve. Nothing is predestined. What beckons is the creative power of the unknown. Whenever you draw the blank rune, take heart. Know that the work of self-change is progressing in your life. Okay, and then your last rune is called Ingus, and it is fertility, and this is your action called for. Fertility and new beginnings, this guy. Ingus. This rune is akin to the moon, the intuitive part of our nature, and with its urge towards harmonizing and adjusting in the sphere of personal relationships. Ingus embodies the need to share, the yearning to be desired, a search after similarities. A completion of beginnings is what Ingus requires. Drawing this rune may mark a time of joyful deliverance, of new life and a new path. A rune of great power, receiving it means that you now have the strength to achieve completion, resolution, from which comes a new beginning. Above all, completion is crucial here. It may be timely that you complete some project now. If so, make that your first priority. perhaps a difficult state of mind can be clarified or resolved. The appearance of this rune indicates that you must fertilize the ground for your own deliverance. All things change, and we cannot live permanently amid obstructions. Ingu signals your emergence from a closed chrysalis state. As you resolve and clear away the old, you will experience a release from tension and uncertainty. You may be required to free yourself from a rut, habit, or relationship, from some deep cultural or behavioral pattern, some activity that was quite proper to the self you are leaving behind. The time of birth is always a critical one. Movement can involve danger, and yet movement that is timely leads out of danger. The time has come to enter the delivery room. Another of the cycle runes, Ingu's counsels preparation. Being centered and grounded, freeing yourself from all unwanted influences and seeing the humor, you are indeed prepared to open to the will of heaven and await your deliverance with calm certainty. Okay, so I hope that gives you something to think about or some bit of reassurance. From what you mentioned in your message, it sounds like you're worried that because of certain things that happened in the past, and that you're entering a similar kind of situation, that the same things might happen. And I think that one of the things that comes to mind as I read this reading is the fact that however you acted in the past, or however, whatever went down in the past, something to keep in mind as we undergo changes and growth and all of those wonderful things, which I know you are doing, I can tell from your videos, is that, because it can be scary sometimes to look back at ourselves and see how we acted in the past and be worried that, if the same, whether it's the fears that get triggered or whatever, if the same set of circumstances somehow comes into alignment, that we're sort of doomed or predestined to react in the same way and cause the same problems that we did the first time around. I definitely know that fear for myself. There's certain things that I see myself doing, patterns that I have with people, and I'm afraid sometimes to, enter into a relationship or a situation where those things may be triggered, and I feel like I'm, scared of how I'll act and doing the same damage that I've done in the past or whatever. That's kind of the sense that I got from your message, And the thing to keep in mind, though, is that the person you were when you did those things, or when you had those interactions with people, all of the behaviors that you did, that you had, and just to be, for the record, for everyone else listening, there's nothing horrible that she told me she did or anything. I'm being vague just because I don't know what she really was referring to, but just in general. Anything that you've done in the past that you regret or, are afraid that you're going to do again, keep in mind that any behavior you had or any feelings that you had back then, they made complete and total sense given the thoughts that you were holding about yourself and your life and the situation. And that if you were faced with the same kind of situation now, your thoughts may be very different, and therefore your reactions will be different naturally. So maybe take a look at that and see, like that to me would be the place to look for evidence as to whether things are the same as they were or different. And if they're different, then know that, just because something happened one way in the past doesn't mean it's going to be the same now. And the more you can kind of, at least in my opinion, the more you can try and dig down and find out maybe what was going through your mind and what beliefs you were holding about yourself to cause you to feel that way and act whatever way you acted. And and see if those things are still in operation, or if they've been resolved, or if they need to be healed a little bit, and, start there. That's kind of where it starts from, I think. So, it's not outside of your power to sort of show yourself that you can adhere to the beliefs and values and desires that you have for yourself now as to how you interact with people. I don't know about you, but for me, having this whisper channel has been one thing that's really helped me to get some confidence and be able to interact with people in a much more positive way than I did in the past. And so that's something that a lot of the times I find myself acting differently in social settings than I may have before, and I realize that it's as a result of the kinds of connections that I've made and conversations I've had and interacting with people in the whisper community, that they've sort of helped me to let go of a lot of the negative beliefs that I had about myself, and so that now when I'm faced with the same situations that used to trigger me to engage in whatever behaviors I did as a defense, I don't feel the need to, because I feel so much more confident within myself that I'm able to just respond to the situation so differently and just be kind and caring and loving towards other people, and not so worried as what they're thinking of me, or whatever. Like, that's just my own example. I don't know what your situations were or have been. Anyways, I'm rambling a little bit, but I guess the sense that I get is that you're taking a chance on yourself, starting a new path, and you've got a little bit of fear that as to whether or not you'll be able to make the most of it, or if you will, fall into some of the pitfalls that you may have stumbled over in the past. And I guess I would just say that this is a new beginning. Every time we try something again, it's a new beginning and a new opportunity to prove to ourselves that we're not doomed to repeat the past. We have choices we can make all the time, and I think it's wonderful when we can recognize ourselves acting out of fear and hurt and insecurity, for example, and instead of closing off and retreating into our shell and doing all these behaviors that mask that fear, to be able to turn to somebody and honestly tell them what we're afraid of and face it with the help of friends and people who love us. And I think that's it's a hard thing to do, but it's very rewarding. It frees you up to just be loving, which I know you are. I can tell that from your videos and the interactions that the conversations that we've had, as brief as they have been. So, anyways, hopefully that gives you something to think about. I would be glad to hear what you think of the reading, and if you ever want to talk about any of this stuff with me, I'm available. I'd be more than happy to talk to you, more specifically or something if you want. Sometimes it helps to have somebody who's not directly, invested in your life or involved with your life to explore some of these things that, with the people who are close to us, sometimes it feels like there's too much at stake to really take the risk of taking an honest look at ourselves, because we're afraid of what we might find. I know I am. And just for what it's worth, I'm always happy to listen if you want to, talk about anything with somebody who it's not going to really have a direct bearing on your life or whatever. So yeah, to hear what you thought of it, and thank you very much for volunteering and for opening up. I hope I didn't betray any confidence by mentioning the issues that you brought up, but I just wanted to offer something relevant if possible, so take care, and I'll talk to everybody soon. Thanks, bye.